distinguished executive, a seasoned technology leader with over 34 years experience in project management, business improvement. Sir, please, you're not supposed to come up now, sir, because we're supposed to give a round, a standing applause. 34 years experience in change management, corporate planning, strategy development, okay, BSc Industrial Engineering, MBA Oil and Gas Management from Robert Gordon University, and now at the final stage of Doctor of Business Administration program. Now at the final stage. He has had a career with NNPC starting from 1992. Okay? Say, wow, that's what it's supposed to be. Say, wow. And has led many projects, particularly in transformation, in the transformation office. Specifically, he was the pioneer member of NNPC corporate transformation team as far back as 2009, and has led transformation across communication, NNPC retail limited transformation and IT adoption teams, worked at corporate department, and has been involved in Nigeria's gas policy implementation strategy development. Will be delivered today by 3 distinguished gentlemen, 2 from the partner and 1 from the customer that they have worked with to transform the organization. So I want to bring upstage to SAP Executive Exchange. First, from Microware Solutions, Mr. Henry Eze, who is the Chief Operating Officer. When the rubber hits the road, it's Mr. Henry you will call. And you're welcome, Mr. Henry, please. Also, the managing partner, and he has said I should not call him what I used to call him now, but don't. Managing partner, a distinguished executive, and I know if you have seen LinkedIn recently, you will know why I'm talking about that. Managing partner for Microware Solutions, Mr. Michael Ekeagbara. Thank you very much. Michael, please, welcome to the exchange. Okay. Together with a distinguished executive, they've been working to transform one of Nigeria's regional beverage organization, beverage leader. Okay? Maybe some of you drink Bullet energy drink. Okay, yes. So what reaches the end customer, the strikers, they as midfielders, they've been working together with the Chief Transformation Officer of Champion Breweries, Mr. Sami Ogunjobi. Please, Mr. Ogunjobi, you are welcome to SAP Executive Exchange 2026. Please welcome on stage, sir. Please, be hands together for him, please, again.
Software, automations, ERP, everything around digital transformation for businesses. In 2017, that's when we became SAP partners officially, and this is just our journey so far with the SAP ecosystem. From 2017 that we became SAP partners, the next year we achieved our Gold Partner Award and became authorized for SAP Business by Design. 2 years down the road, we became authorized for S4HANA and SuccessFactors and achieved the necessary authorizations. Since then till now, we've been adding and adding and adding to our capabilities. Till date, we have quite a lot of SAP LOBs under our buckets. This is just a few of the logos that we've worked with. And the list is quite lengthy, but we just thought to bring these ones up here. We've done a couple of projects including S4HANA, the first to do S4HANA Enterprise Edition, ES, the first to do business by design in Africa, and that has landed us a lot of awards, which are quite a lot. In terms of project footprint and the operational base, we have operations across 3 countries in Africa, and we've had project deliveries across all the places you see in the map. I think I'll not take so much time. One of the projects that we delivered is the migration from ECC to S4HANA for Champion Breweries Limited. And we have the Digital Transformation Manager of Champions here to talk a little bit about that project. It's a project that lasted for 9 months from inception to go live. And Mr. Somi?
So we needed to move our data, we needed to move our processes, our supply chain processes out to a standalone instance. And so we said we want to go to S4HANA, and our business partner of choice obviously is MSL. It was challenging because we have bespoke systems, we have peculiar systems that were not standard, processes. And then MSL had to come up with creative and innovative ideas on how to, modify the S4 platform to be able to answer our business challenges and business needs. And they did that effectively. And then it was with aggressive timelines, talking about an 8-month target. And then also in pari passu with our business operations with minimal disruption. So they were able to move us from our old legacy system to the cloud without impacting on our production environment. And also the changeover, the go live experience was seamless. We're able to move to S4HANA without any business disruption. And also, we also had challenges in moving our legacy data to the cloud. Our S4 ECC platform, we needed to also move it to the cloud. And then they're also helping us to do that. So going forward, we are now operating an S4HANA system with multiple integration points. We are integrating with our seamless HR. We're also integrating with our Salesforce automation platform, so that we are now having a single source of truth and visibility, end-to-end visibility for our supply chain. And MSL has been doing very well, helping us to be able to achieve this business outcome. And all the good things that we had in terms of visibility of our enterprise, in terms of predictive analysis, demand forecasting, leveraging AI, we are now, in the best position to be able to do that because of our partnership with MSL. I think it has been a rewarding experience so far. And then we also have an ongoing support that we have, entered into with MSL, so that with that partnership and that journey can continue. As Champion Brewery is expanding our footprint, also, we have MSL backing us up and supporting us on this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mic check. Thank you, Mr. Somi. Thank you, Mr. Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. I think because of the technology change and every now and then, most likely we're kind of low. So I'm going to keep it real short and sweet. We've had a lot about, please sit down, gentlemen, if you will. We've had a lot about outcomes. We've had a lot about how data is important and the likes. My job within the next 2 minutes is to put a synopsis into everything that we've been discussing. And that's what we do at Microware Solutions. If you see on my slide, there's a bold says beyond go live, and I'll tell you why I chose this. You see, there has been a trace from various processes, and now we're talking about an autonomous enterprise. Everybody in this room are mostly partners, customers who are running S4 or one SAP solution. So I can reasonably say most of us here are competent with taking a customer to go live, isn't it? But then, is it the end, the moment you go live? No, that is where the entire thing begins. And for you to say you've scored a value, whether you're a partner, a customer, is the fact that you are taking what you have implemented as go live and you're taking it to the next level, which is the SAP Autonomous Enterprise. Like you see, Mr. Somi said, they moved from ECC onto S4, and now they're already adopting certain AI use cases because they have a digital transformation journey. We keep using that catchphrase, but it's also important to implement it carefully. Moving from a T code, now we're talking about AI agents doing the trick for everyone. And that's the take home, if you want, for this conversation, is go live is the starting line. It's not the finish. And for you to say you want value, whether you're a CPO, a CFO, or a CIO, it's what you do after go live. And that begs to the next question I'm going to ask everyone across the room is, what do we do? How do we go about that? You know, like I mentioned, it's not just about go live, it's about turning different things into action. There are different apps on S4, but source to pay, order to cash, hire to retire. But in between these different apps, there are value leaks. How do you connect them? I'm going to speak about 5 disciplines which we take very care at Microware Solutions when we do implementation for our customers. I'll speak about that. But for everyone here, you could see boldly, it's when do you see something, when do you decide, and when do you act? It's really, really key. If a CFO cannot at one time click of a button to close out his month end, then it becomes a problem. S4 is just sitting there with a bunch of data not speaking to each other. So you have to make sure that these things work. For a CIO, yes, you may not control the entire clean core, but you're looking at data governance. You're looking at being able to make sure that your data is clean, because AI, for it to work, needs your data. How do you manage that? You know, and for the CPO, where you try to manage your source to pay efficiency, your supplier efficiency, even to keep an eye on your spend visibility, that is also linked to business outcomes. So in all of this, there's something which is key, and I would like everyone to think about today, is about outcomes. What outcomes are you taking out in terms of this? And I'm going to put simply in these 5 disciplines which you see here. There's the first one that talks about clean data. Second one is about connecting your processes. The third one is about executive visibility, and I'll speak more on this because it's very key. The fourth one is about adoption and governance. It's been around questions people have been asking about change management. For most of us, we think once your implementation, your organization change management ends. But how do you help your customer to keep that process going? Bear in mind, a company that adopts SAP, it becomes the next, as long as that business is an ongoing concern, SAP is part of their ecosystem. So how do you keep that ball running? Especially in the fact that in this day and age, I heard Mr. Liu mention that certain people, which is true, most organizations today, out of a reason, yes, there is a Joule, there's Copilot, they jump out of the organization systems with confidential data. How do you manage all of this? That's the job of a CIO, and that's also key for everyone. So if there's anything you want to take home today, is this 5 disciplines that separate companies who get value from SAP. One is clean data. It is not as glamorous as it is, but once I say anything around master data, the CFOs are hard to skip, the CIOs are hard to skip, because your master data is the bloodline of your solution, isn't it? But one thing you should know, do not be afraid of it. Make it your friend and try to make sure that the governance around your master data is efficient, it's iterative. That way, AI is not going to give you issues. I have one of my integration experts, as he was working on Champions, he mentioned something around document grounding. Now, that's a technical term, but I'll use that as a pinpoint, because if you want to do document grounding, it means you're trying to install Joule in the core of the organization. Now, for document grounding to happen, it means it needs to have access to the Microsoft 365, every other siloed systems other than SAP. Now, imagine that the data was bad. Document grounding will fail. Not talk about using the build zone on anything. I'm going to stop there. I don't need to go that technical. So it's really key that the core is clean and your data is clean. The next thing is processes need to talk to each other. Between source to pay, recruit to retire, lead to cash, they need to be talking to each other. If they're not talking to each other, there are a bunch of value leaks. That value is, which brings us to the next one, executive visibility. Now, executives will want to take decisions on the spot. They want to make things clear. Now, if there's no visibility between these connected apps, it becomes a problem. The CFO is taking his decision this way, the CPO is taking his decision that way, but where your data is clean and these apps are talking to each other, which is why there's a need for an autonomous enterprise, you would agree with me that those values are no longer leaking. And it's also important, I like what Jumi said about business outcomes during the, it's very key that it's also an iterative process with the executive visibility. Yes, say for instance, implementation, there was a steering committee, the board made decisions, change policies happened. But if the board is not keep involved every now and then in terms of how stuff works and what needs as business outcomes, technology will sit there. Bear in mind, people, process, technology. Technology is the easy part, but the process and people to work alongside, there has to be that iterative processes. And then adoption and governance. Very good question on someone in the audience who asked about how do you deal with this. It speaks to change management. Change management doesn't just stop once implementation ends. It goes beyond that. And it's something we do here at Microware Solutions. We help our various customers to understand that, look, we have just shown you the ropes. It's time to walk through it. Keep that going and do not stop. If it's possible, create your own internal change management for SAP. And since it's an ongoing business concern, it's also spilled into other policies. Now, at the end of the day, if you did not take what I take, just mention one thing about outcomes. Outcomes, like they said in SAP Sapphire, works under what you call context layer. Context layer involves stripping away the jargon, bringing everything that data to feed into the AI. If it doesn't go that way, I'm sorry, you're just sitting on a very good solution, which is the SAP S4, but you're not taking it to the next level. And it comes back to what I said. You've seen, are you deciding, are you acting fast? So, bottom line, my time is up. I'm just going to take this one last slide. Winners today are those who can connect the apps, data, process, and people to bring about measurable outcomes. Again, winners today in the SAP ecosystem are companies who can connect the apps, the data, the process, and the people to bring about measurable outcomes. That's what we do at Microware Solutions, actually. And the next organizations in the next decade who will be driving the next process, I'm happy the CTO of NNPC took his time to show you their pathway, and they're heading towards that. So that tells you if a large-scale organization like NNPC is driving down there, then you have no choice but to follow the bandwagon, isn't it? So the next decade will not be the ones who just implemented the technology and left it. The next decade are people who are using connected applications, data and processes talking to each other in one global autonomous enterprise, which is the SAP autonomous solution, which we are seeing today. And beyond that, SAP also has a lot of Solex partners too, which help you to manage governance around content. So I won't go into that debate, but for what is worth, I'll be happy to have any questions around this discussion during at our booth, in the next fireside chat, whatever you want. Let's get the conversation going, because again, we belong to one ecosystem, isn't it? Whether you're partners, customers, we are all in one ecosystem. And if one person thrives, the next person thrives. Like my lecturer would always say, there's enough room for every tree under the sun. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having us. It's our pleasure.